Good morning and welcome to the Crypto Day Morning for today's date, Monday, the 18th of February 2019. All bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward, and it seems everything is up today. Well, not so much Vercoin, it was up yesterday or the day before such. It has now since pulled back down to the 11,000 range, which is an area where I got my buyback from selling up top. So, what happens next? Either I buy down here or I sell up top. Theta as well is down as it continues to resist amongst this 61.8% Fibonacci from this high and the breakout lows. Today's session down 4.53%, but correcting within the 18. The 18 average of lows is in at about 20, a little around, we'll say 22 as it's rising. Let's carry on next to Ethereum. First against Bitcoin. Two consecutive big up days in a row after it was resisting in a ascending triangle formation for a week or so amongst this 334 handle resistance level. And then two spectacular days breaking above and is now at a good lower high from this level. Next stage is a matching high, and the next stage after that is it's a higher high, but usually a good rate of ascent or noticeably higher than the previous one. Yesterday's session against Bitcoin up 7 and 4/9%. So far up about 4 1/4. Looking at this against the US fiat, but before we do that, this is an area for support. I don't usually sell Ethereum against Bitcoin. I sold a very small amount around this price point of 38, looking to buy back at 34. Against the dollar here, we can see two consecutive days up, just the same, 9% and 8.7%. Notice it's up about the same. Well, Bitcoin's up nice. We'll look at that momentarily, but breaking out above this level of resistance amongst such longer term time frame. And we'll do so via that of the weekly term. And from point A low to point B high, it's been going down. Is this a point C correctionary higher low? Question mark. It should be. It might be. It might. I don't know if I want to say it probably is, but what definitely is an attempt to break out this downtrend to establish an uptrend. It definitely is that of flattening out the band, thus neutralizing the situation on the longer term time frame. It needs to go up a little bit more to establish. Now, when I say a little bit more, I mean a lot more to establish a level of resistance. I'd be looking at closer to about 200. I'd like to see it go up to. And then that would make the 18 average barely start to rise. You'd be looking to find that area as any points for where support would come into place. And when these things go, they can just go. Just because 200 is a potential reason, it's just that potential. Because if it's not, then decent sized moves can continue happen to future potential levels of resistance. Within Bitcoin, not much of a week going on as it stays sideways within this weekly term time frame. And on the daily, more than not much happening, as it had this little small slide going down, the V-shaped formation, a couple days of higher lows, and a major break of this level of resistance. And now as far as some levels where we may reach to its previous high, which coincides with Fibonacci. And the next key points for long-term Fib, which is based on this low and the highs of 20,000, represent up to 4,100. You got about 48.5 and then 63.5 there after that. But it also means this is the general area. Also, the 18 is where I'd be looking for any type of support. So piercing below 37 as support, 36 change is to me where I really would like to see it hold. Before I was saying the must hold area was pretty much at 34 and 2/3 area, this Fibonacci point. And any type of decent gain increases that must hold area, and any good gain higher. And I mean, it's got to go to 39 or so at least for me to say that this is a very good break of this resistance. But if it does happen, then I'd be looking for like the 3,600 to become your must hold area as the 18 average rises within forward momentum. And this move did happen last night, and I really didn't watch much of Bitcoin at all last night. And then the breakout of this point, decent sized move higher, not that much of a surprise. Let's continue to look within the altcoins. And the first one will be Litecoin against the dollar. Well, not first one, the next one will be Litecoin against the dollar. So any of those who happen to think selling at the 25 level or back at the 28, and or if they were shorting at that point, how you doing kind of deal. But as far as the setup is concerned, I had these two levels of key Fibonacci from this low and this high, and obviously it came close, pierced above this level. I'm most likely going to have to increase where these Fibonacci levels are going to go because it's probably going to go higher. This is a very amazing, valid setup, I think. Outstanding 30% up day, followed by two continuous small up days of 3, and then that of 4.75%, or close to 4 each time. And then decent sized correction back to where it came from here. 3 days or 4 days or so just grinding amongst the 18, and now a move to that situation that I'm not a big fan of. And this is one of the easier ones that I like in trying to predict the situation, because you have a big high correctionary move of a price lower back to it and a little extended as you're reaching to it, which is usually in this case always the case, or in this case the case. Does that make sense? Either way, I like the probabilities of a move as I see this playing through. I don't think that within the short term, I like the chances it's going to hold 44 and 4 ninths, or the fours numbers, all 44s. And I wouldn't be surprised within the day or the next day if we have a break of this and establish another level of resistance. We've already came to previous support in here. Now the area would be previous resistance and congestion areas. I'd be looking at about 55 as that next level. Of course, I do have some Fibonacci available numbers. Let me just bring that up because I think I know where to find them. And it's 63 and 2/3. This is where I'd be taking Litecoin from my hardware wallet and turning into US fiat, and then just slowly with each increase add a little bit more, because I barely sold at about the near this high somewhere, 44, wherever it was on the way up, and I'll barely sell a little bit more at 63. On the weekly, what we have seen since the breakout of this highs is better than neutrality, because the band is flattened out, but it's barely breaking that resistance level. A couple pause periods this week so far, so this thing is just getting going. So if it doesn't go up, it's a pause period. If we start to see price action breaking 52, 53, we're having a significant green candle, most likely making it up towards the 63, probably piercing above it. Usually somewhere around here looks about right. I would be thinking 68 as an aggressive level on Fibonacci. And let's take a look at Litecoin next against, did we show Bitcoin? I don't think we did. So let's take a look at that next. It's hanging in there on the after this move, two kind of pause candles, still a little bit to go to break the high of 128, but in that general area. So the weekly chart is in that of a bull market because resistance was established, it came back to the band, and a couple weeks ago it broke it. It's in a bull market, as is the daily. And not only is the daily in a bull market right now against Bitcoin, but it does seem as if it's poised for another leg higher. And let's move on to the next alternate coin, and that would be AID, which is getting close to my buy level at around 1,000, because I've already sold at around 1,200 change, selling just before this level of previous resistance at around 1,230, as this thing broke out of that little interesting pattern. And on the single hour term, yeah, just interesting volatility, to say the least. Again, I'm looking to buy just right where it came from at 1,000. And Komodo, this one gave me 20 minutes of just, it's fun, not really, within Bittrex, because you really have to be careful on Bittrex not to accidentally buy and sell. And that's what happened, is there was an amazing arbitrage, and I got a good piece of it. As on Bittrex, we can see this thing goes up to the 31 handle. And in here, this one just barely went up to 29. So what ended up happening was Komodo was a good 5-6% differential, if not 7-8% between Bittrex and Binance, where the play was to buy on Binance because it was lower and to sell on Bittrex. Well, I ended up buying on Binance. I have to delete a couple buy orders, which isn't too hard. And then I got my Bitcoin ready to go. So I ended up buying pretty much everything that I my larger size deep orders, as I call it, which is like trying to buy Komodo at like 80% off. So I delete that order, buy it, and then I go over to Bittrex to sell, but I bought instead. So I bought twice. I'm like, oh crap. So I ended up putting a sell order for Binance at about a 0.25% gain, and it took about a good few minutes to get it. And then I ended up putting a sell order on Binance for about a 6% gain, which it took about 4 minutes and 5 minutes to get. So after that was all taken care of, I still noticed about 4 minutes later, okay, there's still a 5% differential. Next time, that time I got it right. Buying on Binance, selling on Bittrex, transferring from Binance to Bittrex because I'm going to need the Komodo over there. Oh, what a fun game. And when I say fun, not really. But as it plays out within this, the market is in a nice trend, moving higher as it was in the 1750 range, now back up to 28. Let's move this back to Bittrex data so I can show more of such. And this is just a basic hourly time frame showing a lot of periods. This is the weekly time frame showing a lot of periods. But I really like how this is presenting itself right now. The context of these moves. Resistance majorly established at around 24 change in here. 24 piercing above a little bit more each time. Well, now as it's done this and it's had these couple pierces above the 31, which is basically yesterday and today, then I need to see this hold, this key area. And if this continues going, then the potential to go to 40, 60, 80 is much higher for those big gains now that the market setup is in place. Next up is EOS or EOS. I don't know how it's best pronounced, but I don't care about pronunciation in this game. Weekly chart, look at this, getting 2 periods breaking out above the 18 average of highs. And what do we see on the daily? What we're seeing is I'm not really selling any of this. Well, it's because I'm trading this against Ethereum. And when two markets, your base market and your alt market, go up or down together at the same time, they pretty much stay worth the same. But I've been buying a few different coins against Ethereum. EOS against such would look like the following. And that's just been going up lately against, and well, today's session it's up a little bit. But I didn't get my buyback, I don't think, in here. Let me quickly check my last EOS trade. And it was February the 1st. At this price I sold, at 219, which meant I sold for more than a 10% move, going from 220 to 240. Missed the sale, so I don't sell up here, which means I'm either selling up here again or I'm going to be buying back down here. So be it. I did, however, buy some ZRX this morning. I also bought myself some Loom, and I had a whole bunch of buy and sell numbers in here. I've avoided putting it in, but another buy order did fill. So all of these selling that I did up here, I've gotten my buybacks. How you doing? And I'm doing fine. Steam, another buy order filled after selling up here. I end up buying it back, so I'll look to sell back at previous high or wait for this 20 number or so to come in, which is where my buy order is next for this. And just let the market do what it does. I also bought some LSK as the selling up here came through. And this is just a measure to try to gain Ethereum. I'll take an altcoin of the such that I'm showing, and even some I haven't shown, I haven't bought yet, like maybe an SNT or one of that type of nature. And everything is worth the same. I'm not going to say what it's worth, but maybe it's worth 1 Ethereum, maybe it's worth a half, maybe it's worth 2. But just to use simple math, we'll say it's worth 1 Ethereum. So therefore, when the market goes down, it'll be worth 0.9, then 0.8, then 0.77. So now I'll buy, say at that point, I'll have a buy order at that level to buy maybe 0.23 worth, to go from 0.77 up to 1. And then as it goes up, the market value would be worth 1 Ethereum, then 1.1, 1.2, maybe 1.27, and I'd make a sell order there, and I would sell 0.27 worth, and then just keep on going from that point with, again, the intent to increase Ethereum amongst these kinds of coins. And when Ethereum goes up solo, like as well, or stronger than other coins, that means these coins will go down. And then Ethereum is going to have a price correction back down at some point. All these coins will go up and the trades will just go through. So I'm pretty much buying Ethereum low and selling that high. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day and a great week. Bye-bye.